Okay, so here's the boat. Bear with me. This is actually my first walk around video. Watch a lot of YouTube, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna be any good at this. So forgive me when I stutter and sound like a fool because I'm sort of out of my element doing this walk around, but we'll get it done. So here's the boat. This is the garage I've kept it in. We got this place in July, so it's been here since then, July of 23. Before that, I kept it in my dad's garage. It's been garage kept as far as I know. You know, I mean, just by looking at it, it doesn't have really any sun damage to speak of. But we'll go over all that. So I guess just to get right into it, let's see. So to start here, the trailer, pretty dirty right now. So I've this has never been, for me at least, I've never just like, you know, I've never had a slip for this boat, but I've also never just used it and put it up dirty. I've really been very serious about not putting it up dirty because that's what can be really hard on boats. So it's been cleaned a lot, but with that said, the reason I thought of that is the trailer is pretty dirty right now. I put a lot of energy into cleaning the boat and didn't, kind of miss the trailer, but bunks are in good shape. I mean, they're not perfect, but they are solid. There's a little, I was gonna say wiggle, but I don't know. That might just be the carpet. I mean, they're not brand new, but there's absolutely, they're not even on the list yet. So, and that's kind of, we can go down here and look at this one. I mean, that carpet's sagging a little bit, but as far as, well, it's not gonna move because the boat's on it, but knocking on it, there's no, I mean, that feels like a solid piece of wood. One thing I really like about this trailer is, you don't have the big poles down there to center it, but the way it fits to the hole, it self-centers. So that's one thing I've really enjoyed, trailering this boat. Every weekend that we used it was just the ease of getting it centered on the trailer. And if the way it is, it's like if it's ever not perfectly centered when you pull it out and you're paying attention, you just kind of ease it back into the water to where it can lift up a little bit, and then it'll just sit back down to where it needs to go. So this boat hasn't been cleaned to do a walk around I've cleaned it. I just kind of mentioned that on a regular basis, but the last time, here's that stuttering part I was talking about earlier. It's not been detailed. So kind of just keep that in mind, I guess is my point. I've cleaned it, but the last time I put it up, I didn't take a scrub brush to the hull. So like what you're seeing here, this is just kind of very surface level stuff. I mean, one wash with a bristle brush and some soap or something, that's gonna come right off. See, like you can see, I mean, that's kind of what I'm talking about. The point I'm trying to get across, it's not spotless right now, but so as you're looking at it, just something to note. So rest of the trailer, you've got this plug. It does not fit a standard, like on my truck, I've got like the line plug and the round plug, and I have to use an adapter to plug this into the adapter, and then it goes into the round plug. But I've got the adapter. I'll include it with the boat, so no need to worry about bringing anything if you do decide to come get it. I replaced this, the emergency brake cable. I replaced these cables. The old ones are kind of frayed. It could tear up your hands when you were going to deal with them. So obviously didn't want that, so replaced those. Replaced this strap, I guess you'd call it, the seat belt, essentially. That's brand new. This chain is brand new. Whatever, this chain link right here, I got this one and it was too big to go in this hole. And then I ordered a smaller one and it really wanted to fit through that hole, but it was just ever so slightly, I mean, barely too big. So instead of drilling it out, I just elected to wrap it around here. I replaced this roller, and this is a beefy bolt going through it. So that's just kind of how I'm rolling right now. There is enough chain to where you can actually do a full figure 8 around both of these bars, which would probably be the way you'd want to do it, you know, just pulling it back to Indiana, just, you know, for a long trip, because why not? But the reason I didn't put it through there is I didn't want to drill it out to, you know, mess with it. This trailer has really good paint on it, and I was kind of scared to drill that out, or, you know, I'd planned on it, but never got around to it. But really it'd be simple, just drill it out, paint right over it, and then you can send this, you know, straight through it, and that's how it's supposed to go. So that's kind of the deal there. Really nice trailer. That was one of the, I mean, it's not an aluminum trailer, but it, honestly, to me, you know, I've always only ever had it in fresh water, and so really have no need for a aluminum trailer, and I just think this trailer looks really good. Tires are in good shape, so you can kind of see, I mean, good tread on the tires. So the guy I bought it from had recently had these replaced, so I don't know, I won't get too bogged down with date codes or anything, because even if I found it, I wouldn't be able to tell you what it means without referencing Google. But good tires on it. So this gel coat, I have never buffed this since I've owned the boat. It does have, you know, a little bit of oxidation, but just, it's nothing. I mean, I'm not a gel coat expert by any means, but the oxidation that's here, to me, you know, like I said, I've not buffed it one time since I've had it, so just any attention given to that would make a really big difference. And even without giving it any attention, which is what I have done as far as that gel coat is concerned, it still looks pretty good. So keep on moving here. Okay, so let me show you. Okay, so the Laurel Lake, when I bought this boat, it didn't have that keel guard on it. It hides pretty well below the water line. You know, I mean, if you're planed out or something, you're gonna be able to see it, but just idling around, I mean, it just barely, maybe about right there, sticks up above the water line. It's in a pretty good spot. But the lake we go to has just a lot of friendly beaches. Bristol, we have dogs, you know, so we'd go pull up to the beaches pretty regularly, and so just kind of had to have that. LED front marker lights, horn. Okay, so that's kind of the walk around, long-winded outside of the boat. But so let's start getting into the mark. So obviously there is a mark in the gel coat right here. It does not go all the way through the fiberglass. This is the worst mark on the gel coat, and there's my hand for scale. I always put buoys out, but I tied it to a dock, had a buoy here, and there was like a part where like two docks joined each other, and that buoy worked its way underneath where like into that gap, and then right, of coincidentally, where that gap was, there's just a piece of metal that stuck out. And so while I was eating lunch one day, it got into it right here, and this is the worst part of the gel coat, just because it did get into the fiberglass. The fiberglass is not necessarily damaged as far as like the actual fiberglass. It's just, you know, visible there. I mean, here's my finger, index finger. So, you know, that's probably, be generous, 2.5 inches from there from my fingernail to my knuckle. And then, you know, it kind of beat it up a little bit there, but that may even be like kind of a buff situation, you know. But whoever, you know, that's gonna have to be fixed at some point. You know, you don't want that, but like I said, that's the worst spot on the gel coat. That was a very sad day. So, okay, so to keep going around, looking at the gel coat, got this spot right here. It did get through the gel coat, but the fiberglass isn't even touched. That's gonna be quite a bit easier of a fix than the other one. Just kind of pulled up on a beach one day and got unlucky. That actually may have already been there when I bought the boat. I can't remember, but it's there. So now you know. Oh, and for scale, there's that finger again, and that's what's there. So we'll keep going around. You got scratch here, scratch here. All this stuff was there when I bought the boat. You know, I bought it in 2020. Or 2022. I'm sorry, and it was definitely still old then. There you can kind of see, I put some new lights in it. They had some old lights in it. There's still some adhesive left over from that. Not a big deal, but it's got brand new lights in it. I've got, you know, I mentioned it in the listing, there's app controlled lighting kind of all through this thing, and part of that is in these vents. Side note with these vents and the rest of this boat, big difference over a 275 versus a 272. Even though the bank prices it like a 272. I don't say that to aggravate you. I say that because I own the boat. It's especially aggravating to me. But anyways, a point versus the 272 is the 272 had these vents, and all this was like caulked around, and that caulking, one of my very best friends has a 252. So it's kind of the same style, but there's a lot of caulk around these vents and around the whole boat. And a 275, they designed the caulk out of it. So you don't have any caulk to like degrade, get ugly, need maintenance. So cool thing about 275. Here's your ladder. Let's see, there is the swim platform and the sun pad. This was replaced by the previous owner. He redid this, so this is all new, and I think it's pretty special that this was replaced, but was not just redone in solid white. He took it somewhere good enough to be able to keep the Baja pattern and not just make a solid white. Also, the back seat was replaced, which we'll get into once we get in the boat, but the front passenger and driver's seat were not replaced, and they're still in pretty good shape. Let's see, let me get a light on back here so you can see a little better. So I put these, when I originally bought the boat, it had through-hole exhaust, but they had mufflers in them. I mean, I guess it was just the factory Baja through-hole. And when you know, it has captain's call, but when you flipped the captain's call switch, they were so quiet you couldn't even tell which way was through-hole and which way was coming out of the foot. So I've got these hardened marine stainless. They clean up really good. I just, you know, don't have them perfect right now. But those are hard marine I put in there. Let's see, another place, and the gel coat is right here. So, you know, not the end of the world, but there's the finger scale. I mean, that's a fingernail. Just something happened and there it is. So I'm gonna tell you about it. Got the trim tabs. They work great. Had this at Lake Cumberland a few times and really came in handy. So, okay, here's the outdrive. A little bit of wear right there, but you know, wasn't the end of the world for me. Here's the prop. It's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's appears to be the original. It's got the let me focus here. It says Baja right on the side of it, so I imagine it is the original. It's 25 pitch 3-blade. If you put a brand new one on it, would it do better? I'm sure it would, because you know it's not a brand new one, but it does just fine. If I was going to keep this boat, it wouldn't be the first thing on my list. So let me get up into it here. So there is a better view of that sun pad. I'm sure I've made you nauseous with my camera work and probably not been focused some of the time, but this is sort of a new thing for me, doing a video like this. But okay, so here's the radio. This is like a $500 head unit. Really could use some kind of a back plate to cover up those screw holes, just because they you know, the head unit wasn't big enough to cover. But when you put that cover on, they do cover up. And if it really drives you crazy, you can get a back plate or work it from your phone, but just kind of one of those things. JL audio speakers all the way through it. You got a tweeter and speaker there. Tweeter, speaker next to the head unit. Let's see, tweeter there, speaker there, same on the other side. And then 2 subs here. It's a shame they use those screws. Those need to be changed out. But I did a lot of work to this boat. I put all these lights in it. So you got, beyond the lights in the vents, you got lights in here, same on the other side. And I mean, I know lights aren't the biggest deal in the world, but they look a lot better than the ones that were in there. They also, I forgot to show you, I have one in the drain plug. So I didn't actually drill through the hole to add a swim light. I just used a drain plug light because I hated to drill through the hole. And then there is lights in the engine bay that are similar and sort of shine through the vents at the same time. There's like a little gap here, and then at the same spot on the other side where they're all kind of tied in and it shines out. Looks really good, actually, in my opinion at least. So these are the gauges. The previous owner did these gauges, updated Lavorsi's. If you've ever looked at another 2002 Baja, the gauges do not look like this. And the trim gauge does not work as far as the outdrive trim. The trim tab gauge does work. The speedometer does not work. It worked when I first bought the boat, and then after I took it to get all that outdrive service, took it back out after that, and it didn't work. So I think the you can actually see on the outdrive where the cable has came apart. So likely a simple fix. The compass, you know, it looks like it's 22 years old, but also it's full of water. A lot of these, as you probably know, this age of boat, they'll have no water, whatever that stuff is in there, and they'll kind of flop around. This one still works really good. Depth finder, it works half the time. Don't know what it is, but it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's your shifter. Got a place right here. If you wanted to spend the money to replace those with a new set, would really look good, but I never did. Got a place there on the steering wheel. This is a remote for the radio, so even if you have that cover on it, or if you don't, you can control the music from the driver's side. So going inside of here, maybe turn on a few lights, cabin lights. So you've got, I'll do a little sweep around. So JL speakers in here too. This is fuse panel with some extra fuses. I've never needed them. But I had that little pack and it fit in there, so I put it in there. Let's see, there's your lights. You got a little bit of a place right here. I'd always planned on putting one of those, like, just order off Amazon, get an adhesive thin mirror to put right here. I thought that would be cool to kind of cover that up, but just never got around to it. They're not very expensive. This place, or this cabin was pretty grody when I bought the boat. I spent a lot of time cleaning the leather, you know, there's the vinyl on the sides, making it look nice. But the top, you know, has some mildew stains. I never have even attempted to clean this because it is stuck. You know, like there's no sagging in it, and I, you know, I'm not an idiot, but I didn't have the confidence in myself to try to clean this and trust that it wouldn't cause it to sag, and basically just decided I would rather have it a little bit dirty. I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but have it a little bit dirty than risk having it sag down. So could it be cleaned? I'm sure it probably could. I would not get me to do it if you wanted to have somebody do it, if that makes sense. So you got this right here. For some reason that's too short. It's probably like that from the day that it was sold brand new. That's the worst spot. When I first got it, there was the seal was messed up around this hatch, and I fixed that, so that's no longer an issue, but it did leave pretty good ugly spot there. But from up front, you can't see it. It's right behind that, so it was never the end of the world to me. As far as storage, you got this hatch here. I don't have anything in here right now, but I did cram, I think like 6 or 7 like just those orange life jackets up in there, stuff like that. So I always knew I was ready to go. This is where, sorry, hard to do one-handed. This is where a toilet would go if you wanted one of those, you know, just porta potty toilets, but we always used it for storage. You got, it's hard to tell, but here's my arm. Pretty good area down in here. So with the life jackets up front, we could have all of our paper towels, paper plates, extra drinks that weren't in the cooler, waters. Pretty good space right here. I mean, this will hold probably I don't know, I don't want to tell you wrong, but a 24 pack of canned Cokes or a whole bunch of waters, or, you know, matching on the other side. This slides out if you did have a toilet and wanted to just be able to pull it out. But yeah, pretty good storage right here. I know it doesn't really translate on video as I'm watching it, but we were always, whenever we used this boat, we would go out on a Friday and come back on a Sunday. We never really took it out just for the day. We really enjoyed camping on it, so we always had it crammed full of stuff, but we're able to make it work without too much trouble. There's a storage underneath the seat. Same storage on that side. And then here you have a 12-volt charger, but it is not plugged up, so that doesn't work. I imagine that wouldn't be too hard to plug up, but that's what it is. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, this is a satellite radio receiver. So if you want to pay for the subscription, you do have satellite radio capability. Let's see, so undoing the top. One of my favorite things about this boat is you can stand right here and put a towel down, and there's a Coleman propane grill and it fits perfectly right here. So you can pull hot dogs out, hamburgers, shish kebabs were a big hit. You buy the pre-made shish kebabs at the grocery store, throw them on the grill right here, and if you ever get in a cove that's too crowded, you pull that grill out and start cooking on there, and everybody gets hungry, and you'll see them start heading back.